Hi everyone, welcome to Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast. This podcast is all about farmers markets, how to increase your market business success, and in our current climate, maximize safety while providing people with fresh food. Farmers markets are essential. Whether you're a farmers market manager or a small farmer or food maker selling at farmers markets, you have found just the right podcast. On today's episode of Tent Talk, we're talking about making it through the winter at cold and sometimes dark markets. Hey everyone, I'm one of your hosts, Brijet Myers. I've spent years as an on-site farmers market manager, and I'm the education coordinator at Farmers Market Pros.
And I'm Catt White, Director of San Diego Markets, still an active farmers market manager, founder of Farmers Market Pros, and host of the Farmers Market Pros community, and Intense, the Farmers Market Conference.
And I'm co-host Justine Marzoni-Mead, Tent Talk producer, marketing director for Farmers Market Pros, and logistics coordinator for Intense, the Farmers Market Conference 2021, which is coming to you live online February 15th through 18th. And you can register today for a discounted rate using the code TALK21 at checkout.
Woo woo. Welcome back to Tent Talk. Today we're chatting about making it through those cold, dark winter markets now that it feels like it's midnight when it's actually 4:30 p.m.
Midnight!
Right! My least favorite.
As if time weren't confusing already.
Right? Yeah, it's terrible. I hate it every year around this time when it's so dark, so early. And then, there's COVID, so it just feels like it's going to last forever.
We don't need any more extra darkness in our lives this year, I think. Here we are. Sun is setting.
Speaking of which, if we sound a little different today, if you're a regular listener, you may notice we're actually Zooming today just to be super careful as COVID rates increase across the country, and a couple people within several degrees of us have either tested positive or been exposed. So we're just being super careful about isolating this week and taking care of ourselves so we can continue to operate our farmers markets.
And we're not traveling.
No,
we're going nowhere. Going nowhere for Thanksgiving.
Staying home.
Staying home. Except for going to the market. Other than that, we're staying home.
Well, that's what I'm thinking about too. If we have to quarantine for 2 weeks, that's 2 markets that we can't work at. That's not really going to work for us. So
not worth it.
Not worth it. Nope. And I'd rather work and be working at the market. So we're staying home. We're all in our PJs at home, Zooming each other. That's just fine.
That's just fine.
Fine.
We're business casual above the waist.
That's right.
So we've been seeing some questions in the Farmers Market Pros community and in some other groups about how to keep things safe and warm and busy at outside markets when you're out there through the winter. And we have afternoon and evening markets that we've had for years that run year round. So it's definitely dark before we close this time of year. Actually, it's dark kind of right after we open this time of year.
That's right. Our temperatures are milder than some though, so we're lucky there. It still feels cold by San Diego standards, though, especially me. I'm real sissy when it comes to the dips below 78. I got to put on that fluffy jacket once it's dark. And we've always hung lights, so those yellow construction lights, and they give a pretty glow to the market at night. I always felt like those were kind of romantic at the market, our little lights that we hung on our night markets.
There.
Yeah, it kind of makes things feel a little bit more welcoming, and it keeps things visible. It's really crappy when, by the end of the market, you're trying to get those last couple sales in and people are squinting at your booth trying to be like, okay, I'm interested in this, but I can't exactly tell what it is. So making sure that you have clear lighting is super, super helpful.
How'd you light your, we usually hang the lights on the front of the booths, which makes it easier to navigate the aisles and makes it, look more inviting. But then most of the vendors brought some kind of lights. Most of them bring something like an LED light or a lantern or something to kind of light their inventory. What did you guys use, Justine, for your hot sauce booth?
We used some twinkle lights that we kind of wove around our display. That was helpful for the table. And if I'm being super honest, we never really cracked the code on the best way to get lights inside of the booths when it wasn't, we were working at a nighttime market that didn't provide light. when we worked at San Diego markets that did hang lights, we usually got, because our booth was at the end, so we were one of the booths that got a light hooked right on our tent, and that helped us. But I have seen some really creative different light rigs. Somebody at the North Park Market, they had like, it looked like, in like offices where they have the like fluorescent light tubes. They hung one of those from the inside of their booth.
Wow.
And it was kind of wacky, but it worked.
Yeah, it provides a lot of lighting, I bet.
Yeah.
So you can really see inventory. What kind of other things challenges did you encounter in working dark markets, Justine?
Another thing is that we, imagine it's a cold evening, it's 7:30, 8 o'clock, you want to get home, you're hungry, and you're rushing out of there. And we would often forget things at the market or not be able to see them because it was dark. Like one year we lost a really awesome wagon that I still will never forgive Dave for losing. And
ooh, you sound a little bitter.
No, it was a good wagon. Or we just, it just made it tricky. By the end of the night, you're tired and it's just hard to see stuff. So making sure that you have really good lighting, I think that's super helpful to keep morale up, to keep people wanting to be there, to keep vendors feeling like it's worth it for them and that they're making sales, making sure that if, either the market provides light, if that's doable, or if the market manager just is really clear with the vendors that they need to find a clear solution. It's a chunk of the year. So just pretending like, oh, I can get through the season without lighting, you're going to miss out on sales.
Yeah, for sure. We try to make the really clever ideas and kind of pass them around and say, go look at Three Suns booth. He's got a really cool light. Brijet, what's your secret weapon?
Definitely headlamps. Yep. So when you're cleaning up at the end of the night, you don't forget anything. Investing in those headlamps. I know as the market manager and the night markets, when the vendors would all clear out and we were doing those last kind of like packing up the barricades and opening the street back up, we would find people's banners rolled up on the ground that would kind of like roll against the curb. And so they'd be hard to see if you're packing up in the dark. People would like leave their tent there. We had all sorts of stuff that was left every market when it was dark at night. But definitely headlamps are really helpful.
You use that in the morning market this time of year, right? Because it's still dark and it's setting up.
Yes. And then everyone was talking about the time change this year. Like, oh, if you work in the early morning, you want the time to change, but it's still pitch black when I get to the market, even though we just had the time change. So I'm out there in the dark at 4:45. And a headlamp is like a godsend just because, especially if the streets aren't completely closed and you're walking around like marking or setting up A-frames and things like that. And Ubers and Lyfts are driving around and they're looking at their map and they're not looking at the road. And if you're standing in the middle of the road trying to market, they're not going to see you.
We should get you a safety vest.
I know. I need like a big twinkly thing to wear, like a flashing red light.
Oh, I saw somebody on a bicycle with one of those the other day. That's a good idea for market staff.
It's helpful. It's helpful because people are just not paying. They don't expect a woman to be standing in the middle of the street at 5 a.m. Kind of like squatting
just drawing
down.
Chalk on the ground.
Drawing things.
Doing hopscotch.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Headlamp. And then hanging the lights. I know I've spoken to a lot of market managers just like across this country when we're talking about night markets, about how we do lighting at the market. And really when we finally figured out how to get those kind of like yellow construction lights that we use and hook them on the front of the tents, that was just kind of like a game changer, and the vendors all appreciate it. They can take care of the lighting inside their booth, but that front lighting, it lights the path for the shoppers, and the shoppers are so grateful for it. And we always had tons of shopper feedback that it was like, oh, I never thought about shopping at a market at night, but it's all lit up and it's great. It's a great time to be outside shopping. So
yeah,
those lights are brutal in terms of ongoing maintenance and hanging them, and you get dirty hauling those cords around. But once we started, we could never go back because it just was so much nicer to have a consistent look with the lighting. Mm-hmm. And they give off a lot of light. We had tried a lot of different things before we settled on those. So
and also just talking about from like a liability point of view, if you are a market manager, you're always assessing your risks and having clear lighting, making sure that you can at least somewhat standardize it, making sure that people can see where they're going, that vendors can see where they're going. that's one less thing you have to worry about in terms of liability if you have clear lighting at your market.
That's
And
a good point.
it looks magical,
Yes.
especially during the holiday season.
It's beautiful.
does.
Just make sure
Okay.
your vendors aren't running over the lights, because they'll unhook them from their tents, pack up quickly, and then peel out of there. We had a lot of vendors that just rolled right over it, light bulbs smashing, exploding on the street. So
Yeah, there's that. There's that part.
They are kind of high maintenance, but totally worth it.
So in really cold weather areas, we're hearing from some folks that, they have a whole different set of challenges. We like to whine when it's, 65 degrees, but there's some areas where it's really cold this time of year, like there's snow and things.
Really cold, yeah.
Actually cold, truly cold by anybody's standards. So we're hearing from some managers that are saying they reduce the hours of their market so the produce doesn't freeze.
Oh gosh.
And I guess neither do the producers, so, which is also important. And some of them adjust their layouts so more farmers and vendors can keep their vehicles nearby. That keeps delicate produce and other products from getting too cold. And it also means the vendors can take a quick break, sit in their truck, warm up a little bit, and then get back out in the elements. So that helps. And then some farmers and vendors bring heaters. We haven't found any market managers that are supplying heaters at the market. I mean, I look at what a hassle the lights are and just think about lugging heaters out there. See, that can be hard, but there are some farmers and vendors that are bringing them, and others have like creative hand and foot warmers. Like those little things that pop, you stick them inside your socks and they keep your feet really warm. It's it's like how you approach camping in cold weather, right?
Yeah, you could just put cayenne in your shoes.
Warm it
up. It works.
That's interesting.
Yeah, we do that when we go skiing.
No way.
You just have to be careful not to put too much.
I think we
cayenne pepper.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
We totally need to hook up our spice vendor to have a little concession.
Yeah, you just put some
warmers.
cayenne in your boots. But if you put too much, or if your feet get too hot and start sweating, then it can burn.
I didn't think that actually heated up. Are you being serious?
I'm being totally serious.
I'm gonna try it right now because it's 71 degrees in San Diego, so I'm freezing.
I know all of us are wearing jackets right now.
Right? I'm gonna put cayenne I'm in my hoodie. I'm gonna put cayenne in my bed tonight, warm it up.
Just don't get on your pillow.
Oh my goodness, that just sounds terrible.
Yeah, but farmers markets are like camping in so many ways. We haul so many things: tents, water, supplies, all those things. Hauling our trash in and out. So, we can work outside in all sorts of weather, right?
Leave only footprints.
That's right.
We leave only footprints, just like camping. And really, it's just us that are wimps, right? Because farmers work outside in all kinds of weather.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, people are out there milking the cows and feeding the animals and all those things in the weather. So the farmers are probably taking it more in stride, do we think?
Yes, the farmers and just anyone at a farmer's market outside of Southern California where they're dealing with actual weather. There's people that are really doing this. So yeah. I think the farmers get creative though. I know some of our farmers at the market, they have little heating systems set up in their booths. Like Anthony Maciel, he always brings this heater and it has a little battery pack and we all stand in there and warm up. Yeah. He brings it every winter. It's amazing. So
during the summer, Mikulich, one of our honey farmers. Oh, yeah. Is it a honey farmer? Is that what you say? Beekeeper.
Yeah.
But they had these little misters.
Yes.
When it was super hot, they hooked them up to these little water canisters and it misted from their booth.
Yeah.
Wow. That's very clever.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, they know how to do it.
I did hear a pro tip from one market manager back east that one method her folks use for staying warmer is they put mats on the ground in their tents.
Oh, that's so helpful.
So even newspaper that's all kind of stacked up and tied together, or those kitchen mats like you use in commercial kitchens, or anything that keeps your feet off the ground will keep you a lot warmer. So that's a relatively simple tip that would help you.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I forget about that, but we had a mat in our booth too. And it's just standing on that would, because it keeps your feet a little bit more insulated. You're not touching the hard pavement that, sometimes you get to the market and it has rained overnight or it's super dewy or there's, In some areas there's ice or snow on the ground. And if you're standing on top of that all day long, it's going to get through your shoes. So mats are really good, simple and relatively inexpensive workaround.
And it's just better for your feet and your back if you're standing all day anyways. So having a good mat in your booth is helpful.
Yeah.
Why have we never done this? Why don't we have mats in our info booth?
I don't know. We should. Well, I feel like, with the market managers, I don't feel like I really am in the booth for a long period of time. Like I'm in there and then I'm kind of like running around the market. But like our other staffer, like Fernanda, she's in there like all day. So we should get that mat in there. That can be our Christmas present to ourselves.
Yeah,
I just started using one.
Here's a mat.
Yeah, here's a mat. I just started using one in my kitchen while I'm cooking, and it has made such a huge difference because my back was like hurting standing there for so long.
Are you a better cook now?
Yes, I feel like I am a better cook now. I feel like I am getting to be a better cook. If you've been listening to the podcast for a long time, you know that I was never a good cook, but COVID has turned me into many things, one of which is
homeschool
teacher. I was a gardener, but my garden is pretty dead right now. I am cooking.
I'm trying to decide if maybe I'm a fair weather gardener. Because I was really, really excited about the garden all summer. Right. It's not like I'm going out in the snow to feed the cows. I just don't know if I want to plant broccoli now that the tomatoes are gone.
Yeah.
We're pitiful.
Oh, man. If you're a farmer, that's all right on later.
They're either laughing or tuning out now.
Yeah, they're like, these ladies are insane. So a lot of the markets that have added pre-order systems this year to help alleviate some of the COVID constraints, expect that this could also help in cold weather too. So we do have a lot of shoppers that want to come out when the weather is beautiful. But some shoppers might not want to fare bad weather when, they have to pick up a bunch of groceries. So shopping ahead, paying for everything online, and then just coming to the market to pick up their groceries during bad weather may help as well. So if your market hasn't added pre-order system, this might be something that if you're seeing that people just aren't coming out to your market, maybe that's something that you could offer. I know that oftentimes those are hard to set up, but a couple episodes ago when we talked about volunteering, we also talked to Tamara from the Boise, Idaho Farmers Market, and she had some really great tips about setting up a pre-order system. Or if you're waiting for something to finally push you over, the threshold of really needing that pre-order system, maybe the cold weather months, this is an opportunity for you to do that.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. We've got a big session on that at Intense the Farmers Market Conference coming up, actually, where we'll talk about some different platforms and things. But it makes so much sense. I mean, if somebody's already ordered and paid, when they look out and they see the sky's really dark and it's cold, maybe those flurries are starting. I think they'll still come, as opposed to saying, okay, heck with it, we're having pizza this week, no market.
And this is kind of one of those like COVID silver linings, I think, because, weather has always happened at certain times a year or, at different markets. But now it's like, oh, well, because of COVID and so many businesses are doing, pickup systems or pre-order systems, integrating that into your farmer's market. It's not a whole new like wild idea to have. It kind of makes sense. And it can really help with the sales that you have during these times. And maybe you could keep that option year round, or maybe you could just have it during the winter months. But, the options are kind of endless. And, it's a great system to have when the weather might not be so pleasant for all your shoppers to come out. And then, the shoppers that want to come out and do the shopping at the market can have that option as well.
Yeah. And
are you saying we should do that? Are you saying that we should start one of those? Because we haven't done it yet.
Well,
I think it's hard for us though, because our weather is so nice all the time.
Yeah. And our market is big, but I was going to say too, that we don't have a pre-order system that, we've integrated into our full market, but we do have a couple of vendors that offer pre-order, and you can order ahead, you can purchase ahead, or you can pay online and then just pick it up from their booth. So that's something that if you're a market manager, that it's not feasible for you to set up the infrastructure for a pre-order system, but you have a couple vendors that are really interested in doing that. Maybe they could do it and you can just help promote that or include it in your weekly newsletter and say, hey, are you picking up your Christmas goose and you don't want to have to bring it through the whole market? Well, guess what? Our meat vendor does pre-order. You can, order it ahead of time and just pick it up. So
yeah, that's great. We had it in the newsletter last week because JR had a box that was really designed to make sides. So it was, a couple of onions and some green beans and squash and herbs that you would use for roasting your turkey and things. So they
and that's
took
always nice.
orders online.
Yeah, and it's nice too, because I see shoppers that come and they pick up their pre-order boxes at the couple of vendors that we have that do that. And then those shoppers typically will say, oh, well, that looks good too, across the aisle. And, oh, okay, I'll grab flowers while I'm here. Or, so they end up shopping the rest of the market as well, even though they've done that pre-order at one particular vendor and they're picking that up quickly. It doesn't necessarily mean that they don't want to walk through the market. It just means they want to make kind of their shopping trip a little easier by getting some pre-order items, but then they'll usually grab a couple other things as well. So it's good for the whole market when a couple of your vendors do that on their own as well.
Oh, for sure. That's why we've always thought it's a good idea to have a couple of farmers doing CSA boxes there. Like I've heard market managers that don't think that's a good idea, but I think it's great. That's just one more way to get people there. And right now, the marketing side is so weird this year. We've spent the whole year, we spent half of our time encouraging people not to come. Don't come. For heaven's sakes, don't bring your friends. or come, but get out. Shop and get out. So marketing's really weird this year.
Yep.
But obviously in the winter when it's dark and it's cold and all that, I guess we're not fighting so much with other holiday activities this year. There's a silver lining.
That's true.
There's a silver lining. It's not like other things going on, but I will think about the way I've always approached Thanksgiving and the winter holidays, like Christmas and Hanukkah and other holidays that gather people together with their families. We usually have a whole joke going where it's like the Saturday after Thanksgiving, like, aren't you sick of your family? They've been in your house all week. Like, bring them to the market and get them out and, like lose them in the crowd and, just like joking around about like bringing your extended family to the market out with you because you guys have all been in the house for days and days. Whereas now, hopefully your family is not traveling to stay with you at your house. Okay. And everyone's at their own house and shopping at their own markets. So we're not sick of each other, but the social media and kind of the marketing approach is a lot different this year than what we've typically done at the market before. So kind of keeping in mind, how are you going to approach it this year? I'm probably going to say more like, oh, you're probably had a nice turkey dinner with your immediate household on Thursday. Come out to the market and get some like healthy veggies, get some, green smoothie and things like that, just to kind of balance out the week or kind of pick some different marketing themes to go with.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit different in terms of messaging. I think with there've been so many closures and different states having changes in how restaurants can operate and other businesses can operate. I think like really emphasizing hours and days that you're open and reminding people that you're open is important.
And I think just simple things like, at least for Thanksgiving, just being like, we're thankful that farmers markets are deemed essential businesses. We're thankful that we've been able to stay open. We're thankful for our shoppers or our vendors that came back. And then, just like Catt said, just reminding people that the market is still there. Even if there's a holiday, it's still there. People can still find groceries there. And I think that just because this year has been so wacky in every way, people just kind of forget or they get confused and they're like, wait, is the market open? Or, is it still here? So just reemphasizing that in some ways it's business as usual. We still will be open and selling groceries for the holidays.
Yeah, I think making it really clear. I looked on a website for a restaurant to see if they were going to be open this weekend, just to go pick up to-go food this weekend. And it was nice. They had like the dates. They were like November 27th open, November 28th open. So just really spelling it out and making it really clear, just because so many different businesses and all sorts of industries are like taking breaks or they're temporarily closed or their hours have changed. Just really spell it out for people, because if you can just kind of keep the confusion to a minimum with your shoppers, you'll get those shoppers a lot easier. I think that, if you're making them dig for your hours, they're going to say, well, I know the grocery store is open, so I'm just going to go to the grocery store. Make it easy for them to figure out that your market is open, and just bullet point those simple rules that you have. Like, do they need to wear a mask when they come? Are you asking them to shop alone? What are the rules? Where do they line up? Where do they go? Just, make it easy for them to come and shop the market.
Yeah, and reminding vendors to do that too is really important.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's an ongoing thing with us. We're always telling them.
I constantly am telling people, like, can you tell people that you're at the market for goodness sakes.
My tell 'em and sell 'em hashtag.
Oh my
You'll see on
goodness.
Farmers Market Pros. Always try to give gold stars to people who actually mention their markets and where they're going to be on a given day. So remind vendors to do that too. Usually too, I mean, this year is weird because we'd usually be doing a lot of holiday activities like, having Santa at the market or decorating cookies with the kids in some big booth where a bunch of children were sitting right next to each other. Not happening this year.
Sharing candy canes.
That's right. Yeah. So not happening. We can't do anything that makes people linger in our city's parlance. And it just, it's not a good idea. So those are out. But, we can do other things for the holidays.
Yeah, we can still do gift bags and baskets. I think especially this year, so many people are cooking at home, and that's another one of the silver linings of this year. I think people are just like Brijet. They're learning to cook. They're expanding, their taste buds maybe. And so giving food or gifts that you can find at gifts that you can find at the markets are super helpful. And we always encourage our vendors to kind of cross promote. And if you have a vendor next to you, say you sell flavored salts and next to you is an olive oil vendor, maybe you can put together a basket and you could sell them in both of your booths, or find a way to collaborate in that way. Or get creative. If you sell sauce and you sell a couple of different flavors, maybe you can bundle them together. That can make a great gift for somebody. So get creative. And also in talking about weather, I thought of this earlier, especially with a lot of our kind of like more gift crafty vendors. Sometimes they bring stuff to the market that is like delicate, or if it gets wet, that's an issue. And sometimes display, you have to get a little bit more creative if you're an outdoor market. So if you're a market manager that is newly having outdoor winter markets, make sure that you communicate to your vendors that they don't want to put a bunch of greeting cards out on their table if it's going to be raining that day, or, find a way that you could set up a display that's not going to get ruined if it's wet outside. And so sometimes putting that in basket, or if you have people pre-order them and they can just pick them up at the market, that can be helpful too.
Yeah, a plastic bag.
Yeah,
exactly. Covered
that's
in
a good
cellophane.
tip. I mean, you'd think that people would think about that ahead of time, but I have had, many a market where we have a newer vendor or someone who has a delicate item, or like art vendor who hangs, even though the clouds are black rolling in, they're hanging up their paintings in their booth just like they would on a sunny day, and then they get wet, and then they're obviously really disappointed that their items did not withstand the weather. So just kind of reminding people, hey, like get prepared, like get those sidewalls for your booth, get some plastic tubs that really click shut so you can keep your items safe and dry, pre-wrap them before you come to the market, like put them in those bags with like a twine around it so you can hand it to the customer and it doesn't get ruined during that purchase. So just those tips to kind of keep in mind if you're going to have inclement weather, I think is important, especially if you have a new vendor, someone who hasn't done a season before, or if you're a new market manager, ask around and try to see what kind of tips you can do for your market.
Yeah, totally makes sense. And little things like decorating their booths or put a bow on your product. Did you do things at Baby Clydesdale, Justine?
Oh yeah, we would do little gift packs. And one year I wrote like some like holiday recipes, and I included a little recipe card in our gift packs, and people really liked that. Also, depending on what state or county you're in, this might be different, but we did have some like t-shirts and stuff like that we weren't able to sell at all of our markets, but some markets allowed us to. So check with your market manager. Sometimes people really love to buy a t-shirt of a vendor, and I know that really depends on whether you're a farmer and the regulations around that. So if you have questions, talk to your market manager. But all those things make great gifts. And if you could make it easier for people by bundling it together. I am a high maintenance gift giver, so I like to be very specific about the things I'm choosing, but a lot of people like to just check those things off their list. And if they can go to the farmer's market and be like, oh, this is good for my father-in-law, this is good for, and just buy things in bundles, that can be super helpful.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to be pushing our market gift cards and shopping bags this year too.
Oh, great idea.
And having it in an envelope with a bow that's of gift cards that go with the bags so that people can just grab them and go. Because especially this year with the economy so rough, our old message that we've always talked about, food's always the right size, it's going to be right on the mark this year. we're
Yeah.
going to really be encouraging people, give the gift of good, healthy food, because, a lot of your friends and neighbors may be having employment issues. They're not getting as many hours, or they're out of work, or their business is struggling. Food's a great gift. So,
Yep.
markets as a whole should be pushing that. And if you're a market manager, that kind of a gift is good for all of your farmers and vendors, because it's going to bring people back to the market. So that, you're kind of giving a gift to your participants as well.
That's nice.
I just had a conversation with one of our farmers on Saturday about that. She gave me a really nice bottle of olive oil for like making a turkey. And we had a nice discussion about how she's like giving people market gift cards and giving her friends food items that are kind of from the farmer's market. So it seems like, oh, it's a really nice like artisan gift. But she goes, but I know that they're a little bit food insecure. So I wouldn't want to give them like, here's a grocery store gift card. I know that you can't afford to buy groceries, but if you're trying to like flow a little, fly a little under the radar and just try to help friends and family out with food and not make, kind of a big deal, like, that they might need a little help, kind of gift cards from the farmer's market. That's a good gift. I mean, that's like a fun gift, like go out and shop at the farmer's market. And it doesn't have to be directly like, are you having food insecurity? But they can come to the market and they can get good, healthy food. So it's a good way to just help out people that you may not even know are having a hard time right now. But giving the gift of food is always a good idea, especially now, I think.
And also for market managers, selling gift cards and shopping bags is a great way to give a gift for the community, to give a gift to the market, and communicating that in your newsletter, telling shoppers like, hey, if you want to give the market a gift, buy a gift card from us and then give it to a friend. And it's a win-win, because it helps out the market. You know that you're going to get some new shoppers, you get a little purchase, and then also your friends get to shop and buy something that they want from a vendor. So
kind of tying that whole community into there. And then if everyone's shopping local this holiday season, I know I've seen so many businesses are like, it's more important than ever this year to really support local businesses, because that list of local businesses that are closing due to this year is just sadly growing. So if you want to shop local, I mean, a farmer's market is nothing but local businesses, right? Just a bunch of local businesses all tied together. So kind of pushing that messaging as a farmer's market manager. And if you own a farmer's market business, a small farm or a small food business, just promoting, hey, we're a local business. When you support us, you support your own community and keep our business open, and this year on the highest note we can by kind of giving these local businesses a good holiday season, I think.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And we'll all see these markets next year, hopefully, if we have that, good enough holiday season. I think we're all trying to pivot and having to kind of change how we're approaching the holiday season now that we can't ask people to like gather in large groups for big events around the holidays. Kind of taking that messaging more to like give a gift of local is a good way to approach it, and can really help your business survive this season for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we'd like to also hear what's going on with your markets. I want to talk to a market manager who runs a market where it snows at their market, because I have some questions. And we'd also like to know what you're doing to promote your market through the cold, dark winter. We love to hear your stories. We always love hearing stories from across the country, and you can learn what's happening at markets in other parts of the country over in our private Facebook group, the Farmers Market Pros Community. If you're not already a part of that group, come find us there, answer the 3 qualifying questions, and join the group. And meanwhile, stay warm out there. Farmers markets are all about community, and all of us, operators, farmers, and vendors, keep learning. We offer a variety of ways to do that. If you're just getting ready to launch your farmers market business, increase your chances of success by taking Vendor 101, now online and available for aspiring vendors throughout the U.S. Find it at farmersmarketpros.com. Take advantage of our special discount code for podcast listeners, TALK21, and register now for Intense, the Farmers Market Conference at farmersmarketpros.com. Now's the time to get the earliest of early bird prices and reserve your place at this 4-day conference coming to you live online in February. Have a question? You can always message us on Instagram at farmersmarketpros or email us at connect@farmersmarketpros.com. Thanks for listening to Tent Talk. Please leave us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you access your podcasts, and tell us and others how you're enjoying Tent Talk. If you're listening on YouTube, give us a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss our next episode. Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast, is proudly produced by Farmers Market Pros, where passion meets profit. Today's episode was recorded and edited by Justine Marzoni Mead. Original music by David Mead. Thank you so much for listening today, and we'll have another great episode for you next week. Tune in.